What is going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Locks DFS NHL Breakdown. I am your host, Narang, and I'll be breaking down this four-game main slate on DraftKings and FanDuel for Friday, March 8th. Before I get into that, though, if y'all could go ahead and leave a like and comment on this video, not only would it mean a lot for me as far as getting traction, more eyes on this video, but you will be entered into winning our free giveaway, free season pass of your choice. As you know, we run the same giveaway every week where we give back to our most active likers, most active commenters, most active viewers, members, just as a way of saying thank you for watching, liking, commenting, all that stuff. So go ahead and do that to be entered into that giveaway. And with that being said, let's jump into this slate. So interesting slate. It's a four-gamer, obviously, so not a ton of places we can go, but there's still a few teams on the slate with ripe offensive upside. Looking just as the Vegas totals, really interested in Carolina here, and my numbers really like Carolina a lot. Capitals as well with the highest team total at 4. Not so much love from my numbers, but still a spot that we have to go to because it's a four-game slate, but we'll get into all of that. So starting at the high price center, we have Sebastian Aho, which is a guy that we rarely see at the top of the center pool. Typically, there'll be guys like Austin Matthews, John Tavares, Nathan McKinnon, Connor McDavid, Jack Eichel, all those guys above him in price. But since it's a four-game slate, here we have it, Sebastian Aho. And to me, this is actually well warranted. I'm really interested in targeting Carolina in this matchup tonight. If we filter it by high danger chances per 60, allowed over the last 10 games, we see that Winnipeg is actually 5th on the slate. They've just been a bad defensive team over their recent stretch of games, about 10 games, ranking next to teams that we target every single night, like the Rangers, the Blackhawks, the Senators. So a real smash spot for a Carolina team that, as always, is near the tops. Where did they go? There we go. I just missed that. As always, is near the tops at 14.02 high danger chances for per 60. And as always, they lead the league in expected goals for per 60, primarily because they shoot the puck from everywhere, so it kind of bumps up their numbers, but also because they're just a dangerous team, especially with Jordan Staal back. So love this first line of Sebastian Aho. He's second on Carolina and iCourse 4 per 60 at just above 17. Actually, I believe that's third behind Dougie Hamilton and Nino Niederreiter, but he's up there. He's going to drive a lot of the offense for Carolina. If they score 4 or 5 goals, which they definitely could on the slate, he's going to be involved in multiple of them. And on a 4-game slate, you just don't want to miss out on that. I think the other high-priced guy you can go to is Evgeny Kuznetsov. Obviously, getting more Alexander Ovechkin exposure on the slate isn't a bad thing. We'll talk a little bit more about Washington when I get into Ovechkin. But if I am looking at another high price center, it's probably him. And then if you want to pay down, there's actually a couple options available. Not great options. I think you might be able to get value out of Jordan Staal here. It's still at 3.5K. He's going to operate as a shutdown center, so he's going to go up against that first line, the Scheifele-Wheeler line for Winnipeg. So a really tough matchup for him, and he doesn't get any power play time. So you could see him skate just around this 16 minutes, going to all be at 5v5. So not a great spot to be for fantasy production, but he is 3.5K. And as we talked about, it's a really good matchup. So more than likely he'll be on the ice for a goal or two. And I like him being involved in maybe one of them. So not a bad punt, although I do prefer to pay up for just like Aho, Kuznetsov, guys like that. And if you want to come down a little bit farther, actually a lot a bit farther and go min price, there's a guy, Sam Steele, here. He's actually centering this second line. He's sort of an exciting young player for Anaheim. Anaheim's had their eyes on him to call him up. He's going to center the second line, which I like a lot, of Ricard Raquel and Jakob Silfverberg. Really two talented wingers. Guys who are more than capable of finishing the puck. The bad thing is not receiving any power play time, but for 2.5K, if he gives you 15 minutes of 5-on-5 with Raquel and Silfverberg versus a Montreal team on a back-to-back, he could certainly get you there. And he opens up a ton of salary, so you could get guys like Alexander Ovechkin. So moving on to winger, let's talk a bit about Washington, because as far as high danger chances for per 60, as if what they're creating over the last 10 games, they're like the 7th worst team in the league, just not creating that many chances. And if you look at high danger chances against per 60, we see New Jersey ranks near the top as far as being good. So I should say near the bottom at 9.07, which is third best in the league behind defensive juggernauts like Minnesota, St. Louis, sandwiched between another great defensive team like Vegas. So not really what you'd expect from New Jersey, but Their expected goals against per 60 numbers are still middle of the pack over their last 10 games. So it's still a great spot for Washington. The fact of the matter here is sometimes you got to listen to the numbers, and sometimes you just have to look at the roster, look at the teams. This is the New Jersey Devils right now. They have Kenny Agostino on their first line. Blake Coleman is the center on their second line when he's clearly a winger. They're a mess. They have one good player, Kyle Palmieri, because their other good player, Nico Hischier, is out for this game. So they're a complete mess, and they're going up against this team, which is Alexander. It's just chock full of talent, playmakers, goal scorers. It's just a bad matchup. So Ovechkin, probably the top guy to pay up for, although I really like that price on Aho. Ovechkin, the top guy to pay up for in the slate, leads the entire slate in iCourse 4 per 60. He's the most likely guy to score a couple goals, maybe score even 3 and break the slate. So you want to be well exposed to him on both sides. If we scroll down a bit, though, one guy that's way too underpriced on DraftKings and has been so for a while now is Nino Niederreiter. If I go and show you guys Carolina's some of these underlying numbers for these Carolina skaters, Nino Niederreiter over the last 10 games, or actually, excuse me, this is since he's been traded to Carolina, has a 17.79 iCourse 4 per 60, and also he's generating nearly 8 high danger chances 4 per 60, which is Tavares level near the tops of the league. Been a super dangerous skater, and he's skating on one of the most dominant first lines by Corsi 4 percentages in the NHL. So I love getting Nino Niederreiter at 5.2K. That's an absolute lock for me. And then scrolling down a little bit farther, the last guy I wanted to talk about is Ryan Donato at 3.8K. So Ryan Donato got that fantasy-friendly bump to the first line. He's skating with Eric Stahl and Jason Zucker. You may remember this third winger used to be Mikael Granlund before he got traded straight up for Kevin Fiala. He got traded to the Predators, Fiala to the Wild. But what that did do is open up a spot on the first line as well as the first-team power play for Ryan Donato. Ryan Donato, a skater, he used to skate with Boston, really talented young skater that didn't get a lot of time on ice, but he put up monster numbers in the AHL. And now skating for the Wild, in limited sample size, he leads them in iCourse 4 per 60 at 21. He's shooting the puck like crazy. He's got an extremely fantasy-friendly role. He's going up against a Florida team that is middle of the pack as far as defensive chances, or high danger chances against per 60, middle of the pack as far as expected goals against per 60. There's nothing that screams avoid in this spot for Minnesota, so getting Donato at 3.8 on DraftKings, and I believe he's sitting at like 3.6 on FanDuel, that's an absolute lock. Getting a guy that shoots that much, is going to skate that much at that price. So with that being said, moving on to defense. If you want to pay up for defense, I think John Carlson is far and away the best option you can go for. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about him. Just know that he's one of the highest iCourse 4 defensemen in the league, one of the more fantasy-friendly guys in the league, and in a great matchup. But to give you guys a little bit more value out of these breakdowns, let's talk about a few of the cheaper guys. So one guy who caught my attention was Will Butcher at 2.9K. He's typically got that power play 1 role for New Jersey, but right now it's Damon Severson on that power play 1 role. He's a little bit priced up, but I do like Will Butcher still getting time on that power play 2 role. And with the injury to Sami Vatanen, he is skating like 22 minutes a game, which is more than you usually see from him skating like 18 minutes a game. A decent matchup versus Washington, a team that is 7th worst in the league, high danger chances against per 60. The real problem is if New Jersey is going to be able to generate enough offensive chances to take advantage of that. As you can see, they rank 2nd from the bottom in high danger chances 4 per 60 over the last 10 games. So not generating a ton of offense. But for a value 2.9K, he gives you a decent floor at that price point. Definitely someone I am interested in. Another guy you can punt with is Victor Mete, I believe is his name. The only real news on him, he's a guy who's got an iCourse 4 of around 7, so he does not shoot the puck, but he's been skating 22 minutes a night. He's 2.7K, and he's getting power play 2 time, you could call this. I mean, Montreal kind of has a power play 1A and 1B. So you could say he's getting power play 1B time next to Shea Weber, Brendan Gallagher, Thomas Tatar. Some really like fantasy-friendly names that, we've constantly played, constantly mentioned. And he's right there with him at 2.7K. I think he gives you a decent floor at that price point. So you could punt a couple defenseman spots if you so choose to and pay up for really everyone that's available as far as offensive players go. I don't mind that strategy either. So with that all being said, let's move on to goalie. As always, not going to talk too much about goalie. Just going to let you guys know that make sure to correlate your goalie with the skaters on your team so that if your team does well, as in scores a bunch of goals and gets a bunch of assists, then your goalie hopefully will correlate and get the win. But with that all being said, guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. Make sure to like and comment to be entered into that giveaway. I hope you guys win a ton of money tonight, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace.